Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Gear. My name's Luke. This is a new thing I want to start because I'm trying to encourage myself to talk to the camera a bit more, and I was supposed to be going out and doing a shoot today, but because of the weather, which is quite dull and gloomy, I've decided to do a little indoor video, and it's basically me trying to start up a conversation and talking about gear that's out there, issues with companies and what they're doing well, what they're doing wrong, just my opinion, and then you guys can leave your opinion, of course. I don't know how regularly I'm going to try to keep these going, but I want to aim for about once every 2 weeks and then drop that down to once a week. And if there are any topics you guys want me to talk about, you want information about, then just leave it in the comment below and I'll have a look, which I will be looking at your comments. But what I want to start with doing is looking at these guys, Nikon. I'm currently a Nikon user. I use a D7-100. However, I'm not using a Nikon lens. I'm using the Sigma 18-35, which for all you video makers will know is a very good lens, very sharp, and actually not too bad for the price. I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. But yeah, the reason I want to talk about these guys is not just because I use them, but also because they are going through a bit of a troubled time, which is kind of putting me, a Nikon user, I'm trying to figure out if I should actually make my next upgrade a switch. So not actually upgrade to say a D750 or a D810, but actually switch over to maybe a Sony or a Canon. So definitely want to hear your thoughts on the video, what you guys think and what you guys are doing, and also what do you guys shoot with as well. I want to know what kind of video you're doing and what camera you're using to do it. But yeah, do leave a comment below and I'll definitely be checking that out. So the guys I want to have a look at is the Nikon DL series. This was announced way back in early 2016. They then had a bit of an issue where I believe they had an earthquake that hit their factory and they had to stop manufacturing. They then delayed their release until June, and then it was only last month in January 17 that they actually released them. It was quite it was a fairly big issue because it was almost a year to the announcement date that Nikon released a camera. What makes it worse is that they then released a key mission series, and again that was delayed slightly, but they announced that during Photokina, one of the biggest camera events known in the world, and that's all they had to show for. They had the Nikon 105 1.4, if I'm not mistaken, it could be a 1.8, and they also had the key mission series. No sign of a DSLR whatsoever. I know Canon had a few cameras going. I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, but they had, I think it was probably one of their mirrorless series they would have had out on Photokina. That was quite a popular one and quite the buzz, but Nikon didn't have anything to show for. I mean, they didn't even have their DL series out during Photokina, and Photokina was back in September, so they were quite far behind in what they were trying to offer and what they were trying to sell. Kind of puts me at a bit of a worry, because it's only recently did they announce a D5600, a DSLR Nikon, which they haven't done for quite a while actually. It's kind of scary because if they're having this many delays, but yet they can release pro cameras out at D500, D5600, they're not being fair on the early and entry level consumer. They do have some good cameras out, like the D3400, and I know that was announced this year, but it wasn't exactly a massive upgrade from the D3300. It was more of a generic upgrade, which is exactly what the D5600 is, just a generic upgrade. If you do ever actually look at the specs, they've got better video, better buffer time, basically a faster processor, which is a bit of an embarrassment. If you also have a look at their D7-100, D7-200, if you had a look when the D7-200 came out, there was almost no improvement whatsoever. Yes, there was a better buffer time, better battery life, built-in Wi-Fi, and then a slightly better ISO, and they added 100,000 pixels. So that's probably 5 things off the top of my head they actually improved, and they bumped the price up by about £200. To Americans, that's probably about $300, which is quite a big jump. And also, if we have a look at the D5 and the Canon 1DX Mark II and compare those two, the Canon 1DX Mark II kind of blows Nikon out of the water, really. I mean, if we just take video, for example, which is probably what I'm kind of seeing it from as a video maker, that's why I would probably go to Canon, but I'll get to that in a bit. The 1DX Mark II has 4K at 60 frames a second. The D5 has 4K at 30 frames a second, which is its max if I'm not mistaken, but it only records for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's all you get. And did I also mention the massive crop factor as well? You're not using the entire size of the sensor, you're using just the middle bit. I believe it goes down to about a crop sensor size, maybe slightly more, slightly less, but that's quite a big jump. I mean, with the 1DX Mark II, 4K is for about 29 minutes. They had to limit that due to tax between camera and camcorder. I won't go into it, but yeah, 30 minutes, 4K, 3 minutes, 4K with the Nikon doesn't quite add up. And then that kind of jumps down also down to the D500. I believe they boosted it up to about 15-20 minutes, but they haven't got any further than that unless they've released a firmware update for it. But it's still quite a shock to see that bigger change in terms of video. So Nikon really are quite behind the times. They kind of chucked video in with the 4K as a more of a, oh, people are starting to see it as a big thing, we better throw it in. Canon were kind of within it, although you know how Canon are when it comes to releasing things. They're a bit slow, but when they do release them, they do a really good job, except for the 5D Mark IV with the post focus. That's a little gimmicky, but we won't go into that. But another thing to bring up is we need to also remember that Sony bumped up their prices as well as Nikon, because both of them are located in the same area in, I want to say, Japan, and their factories are quite close together, so both of their factories were delayed, prices of their cameras went up, so both of them had a bit of a struggle. As only recently have the prices started to come down slightly. Back in 2015, I think, when I got this camera, you could pick up my camera for about £589, the D7-100. Today you can probably pick it up for about £650. So it's a massive jump in price, which is quite scary if you're a Nikon user, because it also means the lenses went up as well. This isn't the reason why I bought the 18-35. I bought it for a completely different reason. It was a very sharp, very good lens, but we'll talk about a Sigma in another talk. But it's scary to see how those prices can change and how Nikon were trying to kind of reap their reward on what they were going through. Because of the earthquake, they're trying to pay things off, trying to buy new things. Like I said, the DL series, that was delayed by so long. The last thing I want to see them is announce a D7-300 with a D7-60, which is long with the D7-50 and D8-10, and actually the D6-10 is long overdue for an upgrade, and there's still nothing that's coming out of it. And already we're hearing about the Canon 6D Mark II, which again has also been due for an upgrade, but we're getting more information from Canon than we are for Nikon, and Nikon are more due for any upgrade than any other camera company from what I can recall. So I'm kind of hoping that the D760 or the D650, whatever they plan on calling it, is going to be a big jump up. It'd be a bit embarrassing if they throw in that 3-minute 4K, and then also they'll probably keep in with their what do they call it? Their snap bridge, using Bluetooth to download a high-res image onto your phone automatically. A bit like built-in Wi-Fi, so you'd have to sit on with the camera and sort it out. So yeah, that's it so far. I know it's a little bit rushed. I was running off it from the top of my head. Next one will be more prepared and more laid out. But on that, I'd like you guys to leave a comment on what you guys want to talk about below, and I'll make sure we get it included in the next video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.